amazing viewers. Thank you so much for joining me on my program once again. I appreciate you wherever you are connecting from. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please kindly subscribe to my channel. Click the notification bell so that you'll be notified each time I upload a video. You will be among the first to receive it. Thank you so much and remain blessed.
The Atiku picking Okowa as his running mate. So let me just start with you, Inzi. Are you surprised by this decision?
Not at all. I'm not. I'm not surprised because the three governors, Atiku and PDP, made it clear that he's going to choose his running mate from among the governors, and it was also very clear that the vice presidential ticket slot, I mean the ticket would go to the South. It was very clear after the primary. I was not surprised that the lot fell on Okowa, because give it to Okowa. He has been a loyal party member. He's not aggressive. He has been an underground worker. He knows how to play his politics without hurting anybody. And I also think that when it comes to acceptability in the South, in the entire South, Okowa is also a better choice than the other two that could not make it. So I think that the PDP presidential candidate, the NWC, the BOT of the party, and other stakeholders made a good choice in Okowa. Because if you place Okowa on the table with the other two governors from the South, you will see that humility, he is there, acceptability, he is there, hardworking, he is there. I remember when Okowa first made a shot at the Delta State governorship. I followed that election very, very well. Then I was with the Guardian newspaper. Nobody gave him any chance. There were so many other names that were coming up. But on the day of the primary, it was Okowa. People were saying Okowa will come third, Okowa will come third. But he won it. That shows how solid he is, how strong he is, how he does his underground work. And we also saw, prelude to this, his announcement, he was not making any noise. There was nothing, much people didn't never even believe this Okowa. But he was doing his underground work, and his records worked for him. I want to believe that the party did a good job. The scrutiny was there. They scrutinized the aspirant, so to say, very, very well. And the lot fell on a better person in Okowa. I think it was a good choice.
Okay, Chooks, do you agree with Nze that Okowa makes the best choice as VP to Atiku in comparison to Udoma and Wike?
Well, you see, today, I'm sorry to digress, but you see today there's so much clamor for P2B, amongst the youth of Nigeria. But we also should not lose sight of what happened 4 years ago when Atiku tapped P2B, the same P2B to be his running mate. There was so much opposition, particularly from the South, is where P2B is from. You see, it's a very difficult thing. It's a very difficult choice. I mean, we all know, we all are seeing what's happening in the APC, where Ahmed Bola Tinubu has been kind of compelled to get a placeholder for him, at least to beat Annex deadline for today. So whilst they work on who to substitute, how to get a better choice. You see, when they said, when it was reported that Atiku handed over the responsibility of picking his running mate to the party, I chuckled, because you see, it's like marriage. Nobody, at least nowadays, goes scouting for a wife for anybody anymore. This is somebody who's going to be your life partner. Take it or leave it. Whoever is the running mate is the person you're going to be in bed with, at least for a very long time. And Atiku, having had a very difficult relationship with Obasanjo, they say once bitten, you're always twice shy. He will not want to suffer the same problem. Yes, if you talk about acceptability, it depends on which side of the divide you are. There are a lot of persons who believe that Okowa is a better choice. A lot of people who believe that Wike has done so much and should be considered. But let me take us back to the US, where when Hillary Clinton ran against Obama in the Democratic primaries in the US, Hillary was tipped to win, and surprisingly, Obama won that ticket. A lot of people felt that because Hillary came second and Hillary was very popular, that she would automatically be the running mate. But Obama didn't do that. He instead appointed her Minister of State, what they call it, Foreign Affairs Secretary of State. You understand? So Wike is a very formidable candidate. But I think the problem, like Ezocha rightly pointed out, I think he spoke too much. His utterances during the campaigns, he fought a very bitter campaign. There was no room for reconciliation, as it were. Several hurtful words were hurled at the Atiku persona, you understand? And I think that must, and there's this video that is trending where he swore never to be vice president to anybody under anything. He said never. So I think that also played a key role. And if you look at both of them, Wike was local government chairman, Okowa was local government secretary, chairman. He became a member of the National Assembly. He was SSG. Wike was chief of staff. Okowa was SSG. So if you put their resumes pari passu, they almost have the same, and they're all outgoing governors. But a lot of people felt that because Wike had put so much into PDP, supported PDP so much with his, flesh and blood, and that he should be compensated. But life is not always that fair, because if life were like that, people like Antonio Nahoro would have been president of Nigeria because he moved the motion for Nigeria's independence. So things don't always work out that way. If you look at, there are a lot of people who fought so hard for the independence of several countries, but who never became the president. There are a lot of people who died in struggle, you understand? And you don't even see their children benefiting directly. So that's life. Life is not a graph you plot, and then when you plot, you go to sleep. A lot of things also worked against them, particularly Wike's penchant for making very toxic outbursts. A lot of people felt that it would be difficult to rein him in if he was vice president. But there was also those who argued that the campaigns were over and that if he became running mate, that he would fall in line because that's automatic. But then a lot of forces came into play, and at the end of the day, we see even the vice president, the Atiku himself, jettisoning the so-called report of the committee set up by PDP itself. As of last night, I understand that there's a lot of problems. You see, it's on our cover page. We don't know what Wike's next move might be. We don't know what his next move might be. A lot of people are insinuating that he might play the Samson. He might go the Samson way, pull down the house. But that wouldn't serve his best interest, because this is a party he toiled so much to build. It's he's 50. He's still under 60. The future is still. He has a very bright future. He might not make it now. Atiku has been running for presidency since 1992. So if it's costly for him to become president today, you see that he spent, several decades. So this is Wike's first shot at the presidency, and he did very, very wonderfully well. So, and I think it will serve his interest and the interest of PDP to try to mend fences, because a lot of egos have been bruised. So the earlier these egos are massaged and placated, the better for the party. Because APC is, like I said, APC is not even APC is in a worse standing, because at least for PDP it was straight, Atiku Muslim, from the north, and Wike, Okowa or Odom, Trauka are Christians, so it was easy for Atiku to pick. Not also discountenancing the issue of the Southeast, because there are a lot of people from Southeast who feel that Atiku took the slot of the Southeast, that PDP was not fair ab initio, because from the get-go, it was assumed that PDP was going to zone its presidential ticket to the South, as has been the convention of the party. But they didn't do that, and when you start on a on a very wrong footing. Whatever you see, you take it as you see.
So Nze, Chuk spoke about massaging egos and placating certain individuals. Many people would argue that in a bid to win this election, PDP has to look for a way to mollify Wike. What do you think will be the adequate compensation that will enable them to the fine line between not pandering to the desire of just one person and actually compensating someone who, according to Chuks, has put his flesh and blood into the party?
You see, when we talk about compensation here, I think a zone should be bigger than an individual. When you're talking of, if you're talking of the most wounded, as far as PDP primary is concerned, presidential ticket is concerned, it should be the Southeast. And that is why you saw some of the headlines today. Stakeholders in the Southeast, Ohaneze, they are very angry about it. Deservedly, they are very angry because in the first place, it is PDP has been accused of not following the zoning formula that the party has enshrined, and having blacked out the Southeast during the presidential primaries. Every Southeasterner that believe that the zone has fought so far, did a lot for the growth and development of the PDP, should have gotten the vice presidential ticket. But alas, the thing went away from them again. And if we are talking of compensation, reconciliation, trying to mend fences, I think the PDP should first start from the Southeast. Why am I saying this? The Southeast has been described as a 5% zone because of their belief that they believe that the Southeast is PDP. And if you look at it, if you have followed the country's democracy since the return of democracy in 1999, Southeast has remained PDP. Forget about what is going on now. Yes, there are political alignments and realignments, but Southeast has remained the PDP. That is why the Ohaneze, the major stakeholders, are angry that PDP has betrayed the zone. So I think that while I also agree that they should also try to mend fences with the Rivers State governor, because himself, like Chuk said, has been PDP body and soul. But the Southeast should be the number one, the first point of call in the race, in the move to put the party together, reconcile aggrieved members and stakeholders. If you look at what happened at the PDP National Secretariat yesterday, some pro-Wike governors walked out. Governors like the governor of Enugu State was not at he left the scene before the announcement was made. These are governors that believe in Wike, and like some papers, including the authority, put it, the appointment or the nomination of Governor Ifeanyi Okowa, if not well handled by the party, could start a fresh crisis. And we have few days to the election. I think if you read down
few months to the election.
Few months, sorry, not 3 days. I'm sorry about that. Few months to the election. If you will see that some governors walked out, some were not there because they felt that their preferred candidate has been dropped. This is politics. You cannot get all. Just as we are talking about, I am reconciling with the Southeast that have felt wounded. We have worked for this party. We have gotten names for this party. We have suffered marginalization for this party, deprivation for this party, and this is the payback. What the PDP did to the Southeast is a sort of sabotage, like Ohaneze has put it. But there is also time to amend all these things. Yes, they have lost out in the presidency. They have lost out in the presidential ticket. They have lost out in the vice presidential ticket. But the party need to, do so many things, especially in the Southeast. Just as I also advise that, like Okowa said after his nomination that he believes that Wike is a party man, and that he will take it as a party decision. And Wike has also, when he received the article after the presidential primaries, pledged to abide, to work for the party, to abide by whatever decision. He's a party man, gave it to him. He has worked for the party. He's one of those that have stood for on the interest of PDP. And I think this is not time for him to walk away. this is time for him to continue to do work, because outside the presidential ticket and vice presidential ticket, there are so many other things that will come if PDP wins the election.
And so you spoke about Okowa's track record. His track records now, can they in any way be solid enough for this VP seat?
Yeah, like I have said before, Okowa stood tall among the other three, or the other two. I don't have to mince words. If you look at Okowa's track record, if you are talking of acceptability in the south, southeast, I think Okowa stands higher than Wike and Udom. What do I mean by this? If you look at Okowa, I can analyze that. Yes, he's from the south, but he has southeast, acceptance. So, because some people will also say, "Oh, we have lost, but this is our own too," because whether anyone likes it or not, he's an Igbo man from the south. There's no two ways about it. Though a good number of them from that side don't accept they are Igbos, but you don't hide nature, you don't hide culture. They are Igbos. It's an Igbo man, and there will be that acceptability. If not all, at least there will be a little acceptability. And he has not come out to say I am not Igbo, unlike Wike, who has publicly come out to say he's not Igbo. So I think his resume, a former governor, a former senator, and like Atiku said, Okowa is a secret achiever, a secret operator. He knows how to play his politics. If you also look at the emergence of the Delta State governorship candidate of PDP, you also see how he managed many people thought that the crisis would have blown up when interest came up here and there, but he managed it, and a candidate emerged. And since the candidate emerged, there has been no crisis, no opposition or whatever. Every other person has calmed down, unlike what we are seeing in so many other states. That is why I feel he's a good manager. He can get votes across the southern part of the country. He has a thorough resume above the others that can add to the acceptance of Atiku Abubakar in the south, in the north, and in the west.
So, Chooks, in this particular headline now, we can see it's PDP Atiku will face consequences for abandoning Southeast. That is according to Ohaneze.
Yeah.
But Ifeanyi Okowa is from Anyoma. Hope I pronounced that well.
Yeah, Anyoma.
It's from Anyoma.
Yes, that's good land.
That means good land in Igbo. They are regarded as Igbo people. They share a border with Anambra State, with some people insinuating that they share even origins too. Shouldn't his emergence as a VP candidate be enough to satisfy the Ohaneze? Because as Inze just said, he's one of their own, even though he comes from Delta States. But those are still Igbo people in Delta States.
Exactly. You know, like I tell people, you know, where you live does not determine your identity. Like we are Africans, but we have Africans who are Arabs. I mean, the Arab League, the headquarters of the Arab League is in Egypt. It's in Africa. So if you go to Morocco, you have Berbers. Then you have Arabs. In Niger, you have Fulani, you have Arabs. In Sudan, you have Arabs. You understand? So where you live, because you live in Africa, doesn't make you less an Arab as somebody from Saudi Arabia. So Okowa, because I tell people this, you know, it's very, very wrong and misleading to say that Okowa is not an Igbo man, because he's an Igbo man on the west side of the River Niger, and it doesn't make him less Igbo than somebody from Imo State or Abia State or Ebonyi State. Instead, I'm from Anambra State. I understand Okowa better than somebody from Ebonyi State, someone from Bakaliki, for instance. If Okowa is speaking, or even an Ngwa man from Abia State. So the geographical location does not matter. And I think, even though Atiku did not say that, but I think it was also one of the considerations. Because you see, a former president of former sergeant of Ohaneze, Colonel Joe, the late Colonel Joe Achuze, from Asaba, he's Okowa's brother, you understand? was this Major Ifajuna Omonicha, the Major Nzogo was from Opanam is in present day what do you call it? Present day Delta State. Michael Kiro I'm not even sure where Michael Kiro is from, because you have Ebema in Imo, then you have their cousins in Rivers. Yeah. So sometimes Michael Kiro, former IG, is considered somebody from Imo State, and when it's convenient, he's from Rivers State. So it's like just like Patani in Bayelsa. You have Patani, you have part of Patani in Bayelsa, and you have part of Patani in Delta State. So, and I think an ethnic group like the Ijaws is able to manage the diversity better than Igbos. You have Ijaws in Ondo, you have Ijaws in, and nobody has said that you are less Ijaw than this Ijaw, you understand? So Okowa is Igbo, his name is Ifa Ichukwu. You know, I mean, nothing past God, if you allow me, you start, you understand? So Ohaneze is not an organization of Southeasterners. Ohaneze and Igbo is an apex organization of all the Igbos. You have Ohaneze in River State. You have Ohaneze members in Delta State. I'll tell us this. In Anambra State, we have people who are from Anambra State who are Igala. We have people who are from Enugu State who are Igala. So if you are insisting that the Southeast must produce the president, what if an Igala man from Enugu State or an Igala man from Anambra State emerges? Will I have the Southeast? So the issue is Igbo. The key issue should be Igbo. So I think Okowa, I'm not going to fight for anybody, but Okowa is as much Igbo as I am, or as Nzocha. Nzocha has his own dialect. He's Owerri, and from a background in Anambra State, we have our dialects. So there's nobody who has the exclusive Igbo-ness, who say I'm Igbo, others are less Igbo, you know, or like Yoruba. You could say, okay, I'm from Ile-Ife, where Yoruba. I mean, that's the cradle of Yoruba. But somebody from Ile-Ife cannot say he's more Yoruba than somebody from Ikirun or somebody from Ede. You understand? So I think, but it's not. And if it's true, from what Atiku is 75 now, he'll be 76 next year. So assuming Atiku wins, assuming PDP wins, by the time Atiku is finishing his first term, he'll be 80 years, and he will be too old to do a second term. So perhaps, I don't know, perhaps perhaps he could support an Okowa or any other person from Southeast.
Is there a possibility for that?
No, that's the realm of speculation. As I said, I mean, nobody knows.
Well, he said it as one of the reasons he picked Okowa, that he's looking for a vice president who will continue.
Yeah,
but that is a political statement, we all know anyway. But he has said it. Politicians don't leave their words. That is just the problem.
We saw a former governor of Nasala, who swore to do only one term, and later he said to hell with one term.
Okay, so now Okowa has been chosen. The election, obviously, the campaign has started towards the election. So what can Okowa bring to the campaign for them to win this election?
No, I think the first thing Okowa should do is to move across the Niger to his brothers in the Southeast. But I'll tell you the truth. I'm not a fan of Peter Obi, but I'll tell you the truth. Peter Obi is very, very strong, not just in the Southeast. Amongst, if you hear that there are fresh registrations in Nigeria going on, most persons, 90% of people who are doing fresh registrations are those who want to vote Peter Obi. So Okowa has to move in. Okowa has to move in to the Southeast to talk to his brother and say, one name, my brothers, you know, let's work together. Let's see how we can. I mean, it happened in 1979. You know, the MPN went into alliance with, the MPN went into alliance with the MPP. That was how they were able to form the leadership of the National Assembly of the House of Reps. That was why Ekweme was vice president, and Umezuke, who was from MPP, emerged Speaker of the House. So they have to work together, because if PDP does not work with Peter Obi, I'm sorry, I don't know if because Peter Obi is very, very strong, and there's this sentiment. I don't know where the sentiment came from. You know, just like Buhari was very, Buhari was very, in 2015, was very popular in the north. Peter Obi today is very popular in the Southeast and amongst the youth of Nigeria across board, particularly the youth across board is very popular. So unless PDP goes into an agreement with him I foresee the three presidential candidates, Peter Obi, Atiku Abubakar, and Tinubu, not being able to poll enough votes to be declared president, and then that will lead to a runoff. I foresee that.
But that will make the election more interesting.
Of course.
Because I don't believe Obi should be wooed by anybody. You see, like I said some time ago, Nigerians are aware of, are politically aware and are democratically aware. You will see the mad rush, the rush in the acquisition of registration and getting
my daughter is registered. My daughter.
Everybody, even some communities are now begging INEC to come. In my own estate, we are begging them now to come, and we are among those who are calling for the extension of this registration exercise,
exactly.
Because every Nigerian that desires to vote, to register and vote, should be allowed to vote. If INEC can accept the orders of political parties and favor some political parties to extend their
timetable,
to extend their date for the conduct of presidential primary, I think this is the calling, this is the yearning of Nigerian voters. INEC is not serving only political parties, they are serving Nigerians. They should extend this exercise so that every Nigerian should vote. That is the joy of democracy. That is the sweetness of democracy. In fact, when we have an election in 2023 that we say none of the candidates was able to pull the required list, that will show us that yes, we are getting there.
So in INEC's defense, they have said that they are considering an extension of the continuous voter registration process, so we'll see how that plays out.
They just have to. They just have to.
Thank you very much.
They just have to. They just have to.
Thank you very much, Inze, for being a part of the show this morning. I can see that both of you have lots on your mind this morning. We'll talk about that later.
Thank you so much for your patience to watch from the beginning to the end. I hope you have learned something from the video you have just watched. The video you have just watched is to bring information to your doorstep and for educational purpose. It is not to demonize anybody. Let us watch continuously and see who can be able to make a sense out of every nonsense we are seeing. We must continue. We move. It doesn't matter what they do. It doesn't matter what they say. They will kill us. We'll kill them. At the end of the day, Biafra is here. Thank you for watching. If you have not subscribed to the channel, please kindly subscribe to the channel. Click the notification bell so that you're notified each time I upload a video. You will be among the first to receive it. Thank you and remain blessed. Bye-bye. See you again.